Good morning. This is Jo Baldwin, and I'm here with your Monday Morning Mojo. This is the last one in a series of taster videos where I'm touching on some of the topics I'll be covering in my upcoming group coaching program, which is called More Like Myself, starting in September. Today's topic is people. And you might think that's a strange one. Most sort of self-development work talks about everything connected with the self, and it's very sort of introspective and looking at what's going on for you. I'd like to assert that actually what's going on for you quite often has a lot to do with all those other people around you. And that can be for the good, but sometimes not so good. So what you will hear in terms of lots of coaches, therapists, self-development sort of type work talking about is the fact that we as human beings are born to feel the need for connection, that we thrive, and we are more successful when we are connected to other people. And that's true, and I firmly believe that. But there are times when some people just take too much from us. They sap our energy. We find ourselves sacrificing over and over for certain people and giving too much of ourselves, and there's nothing left for us. Some people have quite a toxic energy, and this has an impact on us. So I just thought this week, why not take a few moments for yourself to reflect on the people in your lives and the good that those people are bringing for you, and whether there are any people that actually are irritants, dare I say. Are there some people that are sapping your energy? Are there some people that just make you downright fed up and cross when you spend time in their company? Or are there those people that are always asking for favours and somehow they never return the favour? So have a think about how you'd like to map out your life to keep it the way you'd like it to be without other people encroaching on that quite so much. I've got an exercise I do with clients around this where we look at sort of two levels, two concentric rings set around ourselves, and they very consciously place the different people in their lives into one or other of these concentric rings. And this isn't being mean or selfish. It's an act of self-preservation, really. There are some places where we do have to sacrifice. It's a given. It goes without saying. Parenthood, being a good partner or spouse. Obviously within the work environment, you're paid to fulfill a contract, you do that. It's when maybe people are asking you to go over and above that contract and work is spilling out into what really should be personal time. Has that been happening? Why is that happening? Who made that happen? Was it them or was it you? Did they make it happen or did you choose to allow it to happen? So take a little look at what's going on in life for you, and where are there some areas where maybe you could make a few changes. They can be quite subtle and yet they can be quite powerful and transformative for you. I also talk a lot about women being in that superwoman role all the time. That role where we think we have to be all things to all people. We are keeping all the plates spinning. We're juggling all the balls. And we've seen it as a sign of strength. We've been wearing it, as a badge of honour. And because this is the way people have seen us for so long, they see us as maybe the go-to. Oh, she's good at that. She always does that. She can cope with that. So you're the first person they think of, so you're the one that they'll always run to. And it kind of becomes a catch-22 then, doesn't it? You have to maintain being superwoman because of the expectations of other people. But actually, being superwoman can be quite a disempowering state. She's a good place to come from in the short term when you've just got to get shit done. Yeah? but it's not sustainable, not in the long term. We aren't built to be in that state. And in order to fuel ourselves to be in that state, we end up relying on our stress hormones. And to be in that state of stress for a prolonged time just isn't good for us. So it can be powerful, but it's not sustainable. And there's some other disempowering states which kind of go along with Superwoman, and we call them her cousins. And I wonder if you recognise any of these in yourself. Bitch, martyr, and victim. So bitch is the one who, when it's all getting a bit too much and maybe people are making too many demands on your time and you just can't handle it anymore and you turn snarly, grumpy, downright cross, you turn into that bitch and nobody wants to be near her. So not really empowering. She doesn't really get much done when she's in bitch mode. Martyr mode. Have you recognised that you're the one who takes on all the stuff all the time for everybody else and sacrifices your time, your needs, prioritises other people? So you fall into that martyr trap and eventually you start to feel a bit resentful. Yeah, and here I am again doing this, doing that while they're off enjoying themselves. So do you ever notice yourself slipping into martyr? And again, how much of it is because of other people and their expectations and demands? And then the final one is victim. So when you fall into victim mode, it's that feeling of it's not fair. Something maybe is going better or going right for somebody else and it hasn't worked out so well for you. And maybe there's an element of jealousy creeps in there. But it's just that sort of slightly hopeless, helpless, useless kind of a feeling when we slip into victim. So again, what's going on that's caused you to slip into that? So if we think about those disempowering states, and if you're recognizing any of them at any time for yourself, maybe now's an opportunity to look at ways to get out of those states and find different ways of operating. And there's a couple of ways of doing this. The first one involves doing the kind of work that I do with clients, which is finding more powerful operating modes. So instead of operating from that superwoman mode, I'll talk you through 5 different archetypal roles that are just as powerful, just as effective as being in superwoman mode, and yet they're much more sustainable. And you draw on one or the other of them whenever you need them. So that's a big piece of work that you could do with somebody like myself. But there's other ways that I think you can sort of look at this whole people related and your disempowered states related scenario. First one is reflecting on the people in your life and doing that exercise I talked about, the concentric rings exercise, and reflecting who in your life are you prepared to sacrifice for? Who do you want to be in the close circle, the inner ring? Who's important to you? Who do you want to spend time with? Who aren't you spending as much time with as you'd really like to, because actually they are the important ones? And who are the people that are taking more from you, that are forcing you to spend more of your time with them or on their needs? And actually, they aren't as important in the scheme of things. So let's place them in the outer circle. Now, this feels like quite a harsh thing to do. It isn't mean, it isn't selfish. There's no great sort of big breaking up with you kind of conversation to be had. It can all be done really quite subtly and gently, almost that the other person doesn't even realize it. But you start to feel a sense of control, a sense of freedom, a sense of a little bit more time and space for yourself. And when clients have done this exercise, they have really noticed those kind of benefits. Another way is looking at setting some boundaries. So are you somebody that finds yourself being a little bit walked all over? Yeah, you think you've said what you're prepared to put up with, but actually people keep breaking that rule, people keep crossing the line. So again, this is some work that you can do with, with the help of somebody like myself. But if you don't want to feel walked all over anymore and you want to feel more in control, setting boundaries is a really good place to start. Then also, a really positive way of looking at the way people influence us is having a look at who's in your support network. Um, in the context of four different areas, um, life and friendship and family, wealth and financial sides of things, health and wellness and vitality, and practical sort of areas of life. So, who do you have? Take a little look around, and who do you have for friendship and fun? Who do you have that shares an interest? Who's a like-minded person? Who do you have in the sphere of love, whether that be intimate romantic love with a partner or spouse, or whether that be family love? Who do you have in terms of your career or work or business life? Do you have a mentor? Do you have a buddy? Somebody who can be a good sounding board? Somebody that can show you the next step up to progress up the career ladder? Who have you got to offer expert help or guidance, whether that be in the areas of financial or career? From time to time, we do just need somebody who knows that bit more than us to fathom our way through things. So have you got somebody that you know you can turn to for that? And who have you got in terms of health and wellness? So yes, we all have our GP that we're registered with, but do you have any other people that you regularly turn to help with health and wellness? Is it a personal trainer? Is it somebody that you go to the gym with that keeps you committed, that keeps you accountable to doing exercise? Is it somebody like a therapist or a coach that's helping you do some of the personal development work? And who do you have in terms of practical help when you need some childcare, or do you have a cleaner who can take the load off in that respect so that you can devote that chunk of time to stuff that's more important for you? And there might be other facets of practical help that you can think of. So yes, we say that we thrive when we are connected to others. And we're all better connected in areas of life where we are currently being successful. And when you do these kind of exercises, you'll probably spot that. Well, I'm doing okay there. Oh yeah, but it's because I've got him and her and him. But where we don't do so well, where perhaps life isn't feeling so successful, where perhaps it's feeling hard, is for one of two reasons. One, we don't have those people, those connections, that support network, or we have people who are taking too much, who are draining the energy tank. So I say we need people. We can't thrive in isolation. But let's just think about making a more conscious choice about the people that you surround yourself with, and make those choices on your own terms. This might be a completely different way of looking at things for you, but it is a worthwhile exercise to do, just to dip into some of those topics and see what you come up with. If there's anything there that you want some help or support with, do reach out. Otherwise, don't forget I have a free masterclass workshop coming up on Monday the 5th of September, 7:30, all done via Zoom, so you can just sit back and relax over a cup of tea or a glass of wine and dig deeper into some of the topics that I'm going to be covering in the group programme later in September. Hope that's been helpful, and I'll see you next Monday. Bye now.